by sending in your messages on the WhatsApp number 0559-919-082, 0559-919-082. I'll share the topics that have been tabled for discussion, and so you can, prepare yourself in your submissions, and then we take it from there. I'll do that before I introduce my guest. And today we'll be talking about the ICC, and they have issued an arrest warrant for the Israeli Prime Minister, former Defense Minister, and the security commander in Hamas. And also, the EC destroys defective ballot papers for Ahafo in voter regions. President inaugurates 80 education projects. And finally, we will be touching on the new survey of the presidential voting results that says that Bawumia is likely to be getting 49.1% and Mahama 45.8%. Oh, these are some sort of projections that we'll be talking about on the show. So once again, you're welcome, and thank you always for choosing us. As I said, you can send your messages on the number displayed on the screen, and let's get interactive. Now, let me introduce my guest, and I am going to, in no particular order, but definitely I will start from the man who is facing me directly, and it is our very own, a household name, A.B.F. Husseini, Honorable A.B.F. Husseini, a man of, he's a repository of wise sayings and also figurative craftings. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you doing? It's been a long time.
Yeah,
where have you been?
It's the season that dictates the pace. All hands have to be on deck to make sure that we rescue this country from the very chaotic, shambolic manner in which the NPP has sunk the lives of our people. Everywhere you go, people are gnashing their teeth and crying.
Yeah.
And I think the level of suffering in this country is not only unprecedented, but it's mind-boggling. It takes a visionary and committed person of the stature of His Excellency President Mahama to come back and rescue the country. So all of us are on the field, working strenuously. We know that the good people are going to give their mandate to His Excellency President Mahama. In fact, he's the incoming president. But as our people say, even if you are handsome, you still need to bath. The fact that you get the mandate doesn't mean you should go to sleep. We still have to work and work very hard. And I want to use these last 2 weeks. I'm sure we have about 2 weeks left. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks left to the election. I want to urge every member of the National Democratic Congress to abandon whatever they have and go onto the field. These last 2 weeks are very, very crucial. Like I said, I'm absolutely confident we are going to win, but nobody should sit down and think we are going to win and rest on their oars. That is the danger. So I want to urge not just members of the NDC, every well-meaning Ghanaian who sees change as the basis for liberation, and Ohemaa, mark it down.
Yeah.
On the 7th of January 2025, when His Excellency President Mahama is sworn in, it will be a second independence, second liberation for Ghana. There will be carnival on the streets like never before.
Very well. Very well, Alhaji. Thank you so much, and you're welcome once again. We also have Ramsey Inusa of the Movement for Change, fully clothed in the movement attire, and he's looking very colorful on set. Good morning, Ramsey.
Good morning, Ohemaa.
How are you?
Ohemaa, I would say I'm just hanging in there. 2 weeks in this country under the leadership of Nana and Bawumia is like 20 years of hardship, right? And so we're hanging in there, trying our very best, and we're working hard against the clock to make sure that come January 7th, Ghana gets its ultimate choice and not an alternative of the dilemma. I hope you understand. Because we have been coupled over the years by the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC, and we're not seeing any significant development in the lives of our people. And so, we need a transformative leader. Ghana definitely needs a plan, as we've always said, and not a manifesto. we need to table down a long-term vision and plan for this country, and how we can be able to promote adequate governance to be able to achieve that. And that is what the Movement for Change is all about. We have a candidate in the person of Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin, who I say, without any doubt, is the reincarnation of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who is going to liberate this country and ensure that we have our economic independence. And so we are working hard, and for the good people of Ghana, and for the youthful people, this is the only opportunity we have, right? We read history, and it was an unfortunate history of our country that we lost Dr. Kwame Nkrumah through a military coup d'etat, right? And since then, we have been suffering from that. And so we shouldn't waste this golden opportunity to usher in somebody who has the same credibility, the same competence, and the same vision as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who can leapfrog our people from poverty to prosperity.
Thank you very much, Ramsey Inusa of the Movement for Change. Finally, my other guest, he is in the person of Adam Sabo of the NPP, Director of Communications, Greater Accra. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing well. I should be asking you. Thank you for asking.
You look very beautiful in your attire, but I believe it would have been more beautiful if it were to be if you were to be in blue color. Frankly speaking. So next time, try the blue color and see how you look like.
I mean,
let me also just give you my preamble. I think the NPP as a party, we are very proud of ourselves that today, as we speak, we are gradually moving away from the dual decks system in our public schools to the single decks. We are gradually moving away from the chalkboard to what we call screen touch and markers. And then, of course, we are also gradually moving away from what we call schools and the trees to an ultra-modern school buildings that we are now seeing. Quite apart from that, this government, it is undisputable, has brought rules more than any other government since independence. This government has brought interchanges more than any other government since independence. Just within this space that I'm just talking about, I'm not even talking of combining Kufuor, just Nana Akufo-Addo's government. And
that's
again,
8 years.
Yes, and yes, we're just within the space of 8 years. Yes, and again, this government have developed human resource in this country more than any other government, and this government have also made it possible for education to be accessible to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this country. And that is the only way we can propel the fortunes of this country to the height that it desires. And I strongly believe as Ghanaians, if we should continue to give support to this government and of course the NPP as a party to continue on this path, my sister, 10 years to come, I will not take it to 15 or 20, 10 years to come, the story of Ghana would never be the same. And inshallah, we are relying on the, divine powers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the goodwill of the people of Ghana to get to where I'm talking about.
Right, thank you very much. We'll be hearing more from our panelists, but we are focusing on the topics of the ICC issuing an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister, former Defense Minister and Security Commander in Hamas. EC destroys defective ballot papers for Ahafo and Volta regions. President inaugurates 80 education project and a new survey coming in with regards to the presidential projections for the 2024 elections. Says that Baumia 49.1%, Mahama 45.8%. Now, let's delve into our first topic for discussion. Now, we are previewed to the genocide that the Israeli forces have been perpetrating for close to 2 years, if I'm not wrong, close to 2 years. I mean, it started history.
October 7th last year.
Yes, they have had some precedents, but in recent times, it's more than 2 years. Yeah, it's more than 2 years. And finally, the ICC has issued an arrest warrant for these grievous crimes that have been perpetrated by the Israeli forces. I mean, everybody in this world who was against the Israeli, attacks will be interested in this case, especially you, Honorable ABA Husseini. How do you feel about it?
Thank you very much. Let me say a good morning to your good self.
Thank you.
To my brother, Sabo, who I'm very confident after the decisive defeat of the MPP in the 2024 December 7 elections, he's going to find his way back home. The Gumbers have a saying that the day the Billy Goose legs get broken, it will find its way back home. Sure, he will come back home. My brother Ramsey is, I salute his intellectual prowess, his energy and others. And that's why I've said that the Afro-Afranto people should join us. We are fighting a common battle to rescue this country. And the Chinese have a saying that your enemy's enemy is your friend. So I'm sure that if you look at politically, we and the MPP and they and the MPP, so naturally we are allies of a sort in the distance. Except to add that, of course, you have divergent views and opinions and backgrounds. They are coming from the same MPP, and we know that they have drawn some useful lessons that empower them to run away from the elephant. They say that if the mudfish is fleeing from the turtle, he knows what the danger is. So I'm sure that you will come to us. Let me salute the good people of the Brichina people of the Sanarago constituency on their fortitude. And I know I've been home for the past many weeks, many months. I can say without any item of that, in the presidential vote, we will take not less than 85% for His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama in the Sanarago constituency, as well as retain the parliamentary seats within the ranks of the NDC. I am absolutely confident by the grace of Allah Almighty it will happen. And Ohemaa, let me tell you that we are going to have, for those who don't even see what the ground is, it will be shocking for them about the results that will come from the northern region this time and across the north as a whole. President Mahama is going to win overwhelmingly in the north, and also, as it were, will take the largest number of seats ever in the 3 northern regions. Let me now come to the topic that you've indicated, the issue of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Ohemaa, there can be no doubt, any connoisseur of international politics will tell you that this conflict has its genesis in the creation of the Israeli state, a Jewish state for Israel in 1948 through the partition resolution of the United Nations, including resolutions 242, 338. There are a number of them that created the state of Israel. Prior to that, nobody could really tell you of this internecine rampant conflict in the area. So it was the UN partition that gave birth to the partition of Palestine into 2. One Jewish state for the state of Israel and another state, Arab state for the state of Palestine. Now, Ohemaa, is curious. It's a very long story. We would have needed a whole day here to go through the distance. But you ask yourself a fundamental question which is begging, which is an indictment on the international community today. The UN, by its own resolution, split Palestine into 2. Today you have a Jewish state for Israel. Where is the Palestinian state that was created by the UN partition? So that is where the genesis of the conflict has raged on. Because not until the UN lives up to its own obligation of ensuring that there are 2 viable states in the Middle East, one state for the Jews called Israel, another state for the Arabs called Palestine. Not until the United Nations ensures that that is done by its own resolution. If they have looked at one aspect of the solution and left the other solution, this conflict will continue to rage. Because there is a grave injustice that has been done to the Palestinian people. And so that has formed the basis. And so the story has gone on. Various prime ministers of Israel, various Palestinian leaders, leading to Arafat, and then to the signing of the Oslo Accord, where and I want to salute the former Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, Yitzhak Rabin, who had the courage to go and sign a decision with Chairman Arafat to give life to that two-state solution that everybody has been talking about. So fast forward, October 7th has been cited as the basis upon which, I think October 7th last year has been cited as the basis for the current conflict. But I can say without any iota of doubt, any keen follower of international politics will tell you that the genesis of this matter is not October 7th. In fact, long before October 7th, Palestinians were being killed every day in Palestine. You hear that Israel has conducted a raid and said they have gone to kill terrorists. That's what they call them. And it's a constant thing. So let nobody create the impression. And in the process, they have had some collateral damage on civilian casualties. In the process of either through bombs. I mean, Ohemaa, imagine that in a densely populated area. And Gaza is the most densely populated area in the world. That's why the Palestinians call it the biggest open prison in the world. If you go and in that densely populated structure, you drop a 200,000-pound bomb. I mean, look at the magnitude of that bomb. In a densely populated area, you drop it on somebody's house. Can you see the collateral damage you have done? Okay, so that is what has happened in a number of these days. Now, I have said it time with that number, that any atrocious act that culminates in the taking of one civilian life, one innocent civilian life, is unacceptable. So in that vein, October 7th and the lives that they took from innocent Jews and others is damnable. And I have said that was not acceptable, just like any other measure that anybody would have carried out that results in the needless loss of a civilian life. It's damnable. So all those who lost their lives on October 7th, I think that they were innocent people whose lives were terminated without any just cause. So I say that in no uncertain terms.
But that was also dominated of women and children.
Yes, but I'm coming to that. So to seize upon that, and the figures given by Israel are 1,127 or 28. Okay? And I've said that one life lost unduly is one life lost too many. And I stand by that.
Yeah.
But numbers are also important. So if the loss of 1,000, let's take it even 1,200 lives is damnable as a result of the operations of the Israeli state, the Zionist regime in Israel. The last count that they are giving is almost getting to 480,000 people's lives lost in the aftermath of the October 7 when Israel started the invasion of Gaza. So look at the difference. And out of that, it is indicated that about 72% of that number, of getting to closer to 450 plus, are women and children. Not the Hamas operatives that they say they are going for. Over 400,000 lives that have been taken away unduly. So that has constituted a brazen violation of international law, an egregious violation of the fundamental human rights and freedoms of the Palestinian people. Especially, like I said, women and children constitute over 72%. What have the women and children done? Okay, in those large numbers. So if you take even 72% of even just 400,000, look at the number. We are in hundreds of thousands of women and children. Now, that is not the only reason. You are talking about starvation used as a weapon of war.
Yeah.
The Geneva Conventions 1 and 2, and others are law, using food as a weapon against the civilian population. It's a war crime. Just like torture is a war crime. All these have been inflicted on the Palestinian people by the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Okay? They have used collateral damage and fear. Like I just said, how do you drop a 200,000 pound or 20,000 pound bomb in a densely populated situation? It's just like I believe here. They say they want to take a house that is after Pan Africa. Then they come and drop that heavy bomb here. You think Pan Africa will be spared? Those of us sitting here in Pan Africa, we are innocently doing a program here. If they drop the bomb there, won't be affected. So this is what has happened. And so that is the culmination of this, and I want to take this opportunity to salute the South African government of how can I forget the president Cyril Ramaphosa, comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, for having the courage, the vision, and the fortitude to send the Israeli government to the International Criminal Court.
Yeah, and they actually began the boycotting of everything.
Exactly.
Israeli.
But I want to salute them for standing up in the whole wide world.
And some activists,
no country, yes.
What's that guy's name?
No country has someone.
The activist. The South African.
Yes. No country has summoned the courage to take on the Israeli government for the atrocious human rights violations they have done in Palestine, and especially in the aftermath of this Gaza war. It has been the government of comrade South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to take the matter up in the international arena and seek the prosecution of Israel for war crimes and commission of genocide against the Palestinian people. And today, I'm sure that as a result of all these evidences that have been assembled, and of course progressive European countries, I want to salute some European countries today that have had the courage to speak truth to the Israeli government, that their atrocities are enough and that they are committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. And so today the International Criminal Court, led by Karim Khan, has had the courage to institute arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. And then of course they have added there was also an arrest warrant for the security operative for the Hamas, Mohammed Daif. So they've added all of them. I want to urge that this bold attempt by the International Criminal Court, I have not been an apologist for the International Criminal Court. In the past, I have been a critic that it used to go only after vulnerable third world leaders, especially African leaders who are vulnerable, can easily be sought after, hunted down and taken to the International Criminal Court, or vulnerable third world countries like they tried to do with Slobodan Milosevic of Yugoslavia. So clearly the international community must work to enforce this arrest warrant anywhere, especially signatories to the Rome treaty where this ICC thing was adopted, must help enforce it. Any country that is a signatory has a duty and obligation. If the Israeli Prime Minister or the former Defense Minister or the Hamas man visits there, they have a duty to arrest them and repatriate them for them to stand trial at the innocent lives, the blood of the hundreds of thousands of innocent Palestinians, and by extension the Israeli Jews who have also lost their life unduly would be catered for if the enforcement of the warrant is undertaken. And so I want to at least they say if you don't live in like the hyena and the truth is the hyena, give it to it and it will run away with it into the bush. I have not been an apologist of the International Criminal Court, but on this score I think they have done a very, very good job, and we ought to salute them and support them to ensure that justice is done and seems to be done for the long-suffering Palestinian people.
Thank you very much, Honorable ABF, for saying. I'll be coming to Ramsey, but You know, the whole world was raged when Israeli began its, you know, brutality against the Palestinians. And you see, you know, activist groups in South Africa especially, even the entire government decided to boycott everything Israeli. Someone like Julius Malema, you know, pushing the fight, among other things. But we didn't see that here in Ghana. And the only group that was very keen about this condemnation was the socialist movement. And they were combing streets from Accra to Tamale to condemn the Israeli brutality against Palestinians.
Ohemaa, respectfully,
But, yeah.
if you say only,
No, like, not only, okay.
because I remember reading a statement
right.
in Parliament in solidarity with the Palestinian people. On the side of the National Democratic Congress, we issued a statement to that effect.
So the National Democratic Congress
to condemn the atrocities that were made. And so I can say, and also for the Muslim caucus in Parliament. I remember that the statement on behalf of the Muslim caucus in Parliament. So it's not only, I think that there have been a number of solidarity messages. I can salute the Socialist Forum for spearheading and leading the thing. So I would urge that we endeavor to capture the contribution of others.
Right. I'm glad that you brought it up and made reference to the NDC and the Muslim caucus for condemning that and sending solidarity as well. But the socialist movement, you will agree with me that they were at the forefront.
Sure, that's what I say, championing.
Yes, championing and spearheading the whole, advocacy, activism. Tell us what you think about the ICC's move on this subject matter.
Ohemaa, let me take this opportunity to say a very good morning to the good people of Ghana, and a very good morning to the Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin, who is our next president, hopefully by the will of God, come January 7th. And a very good morning to you as well. Ohemaa, the issue of Palestine and Israel, I would say, is a residue of the colonialists. And the agenda of the colonialists is the reason why we've not been able to see peace between Israel and Palestine. Let's go back to history. In 1917, under the British rule, right, where the British were involved in the First World War against the Ottoman Empire, which occupied the territories of Palestine. At that time, the Foreign Secretary of the British government, Sir Arthur Balfour, wrote a declaration to Lord Rothschild of his support to the Zionist movement in promising them a state, right? But on one condition, and they did it sleekly. They connived with the Arabs, which were under British rule, including the Persians, the Iranians, and promised them independence if they are able to help them fight the Ottoman Empire under the First World War. And of course, the Arabs, wanting independence, supported the British government in defeating the Ottoman Empire. And since then, the Zionist movement took that opportunity to capture, of course, given by the British government, the colonial government, to capture parts of today Palestine and Israel and give it to the Jewish or the Zionists in this effect. And so the current leadership that are managing the affairs of Israel, I do not see them as the Jewish government, but I see them as a Zionist movement, right? And this goes beyond the unanimous decision of the UN General Assembly when the first resolution was brought before the Assembly in 1947, as Honorable did reiterate. And in 1948, there was also another resolution, 194. And finally, in 1974, there was also another resolution that was tabled down at the UN General Assembly to promote a two-state solution for the conflict between Israel and Palestine. And Jerusalem, which was at the heart of a lot of contentions and debates between Israel and Palestine, was made a specialized zone which none of them owned, but it was like a UN territory, right? But what do we see? Israel creating an apartheid system that has developed these internal militias that are fighting for their struggle for, I would say, independence and self-governance under the same UN resolution that was approved in the General Assembly. I'm talking about the resolution 3236 in 1974. And so I do not see the sense in why Israel should continue to propagate such inhumane treatment and an apartheid system in Palestine. I mean, growing up as a kid, my grandfather, who studied in Egypt, Al-Azhar University, is an adamant supporter of the Palestinian people. And of course, I grew such interest in knowing more about the struggles of the people. It's no different, I would say it's even worse than the apartheid regime in South Africa. Because today, a life of a Palestinian, in be it in the occupied West Bank or Gaza, is just as is as equal as a life of a fowl in anywhere in the world, right? They are not rated. They are not treated as human beings, right? I condemn the Hamas attack on the 7th of October last year, which has brought about this grave war on the innocent people of both Israel and also Palestine. But I'm of the view that if Israel and its allies, namely the West, would adhere to the resolution set by the UN General Assembly, I'm not sure we'll be talking about this issue today. It's all about enforcing what the UN General Assembly has resolved, right? And I think that it's a fair solution going forward. Taking inspiration or looking at the historic precedents, right, from the Balfour Declaration to the agenda by the British and the Zionist movement, today it would be just to give the Palestinians their lands back. There's a massive agenda to encroach on the lands of Palestinians. And this issue is not only about the freedom of them to also govern themselves, but these are also issues of allodial rights. Right? And we all know that there was nothing like Israel. There was no country called Israel. Today, the current Palestinian territory and the territory Israel occupies was a former part of the Ottoman Empire, which was colonized by the British. And so, you see, the West has created this problem and is lingering in the lives of these innocent citizens of Palestine today. And as it stands now, we have a massive exodus of women and children, even crossing the seas into Europe, into the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt, and also deep down in the Middle East. But you see, this war is going to create or trigger a never-ending situation or conflict in the Middle East, with the introduction of Hezbollah and then that of Iran, right? And we've seen that today shipment routes have been diverted because most of the goods coming from the eastern part of Asia goes through the Suez Canal of Egypt. And so our shipment also goes through that. Ghana's ships heading to Ghana go through the Suez Canal. And so this has a grave economic effect on the global economy, this war. And with the introduction of also the Houthi rebels in Yemen. So I am calling the US to act just. It is very hypocritical to see one of the Republican senators, Lindsey Graham, say that or propose in Senate that the chief prosecutor of the ICC and other key elements in the ICC should be prosecuted or should be sanctioned by the US. It's so hypocritical. When ICC rules against an African or former African head of state or any politician or any elite person or groups in Africa, immediately it's been affected. And they come and take us like fowls and go and lock us in is it Geneva or Geneva, yeah. But when it goes against the West's interests, they put up sanctions against these individuals. I think that is highly hypocritical from the side of the US. They should apply clearly to the UN Convention and the resolution that has brought about this issue that we're seeing today. If truth will be told, I mean, and we would act on that principle, there will not be conflict between Israel and Palestine. It's clear. This situation was caused by the Zionist movement and the British colonial government. And we are calling on the UN and the UN Security Council, which Africans should have a permanent seat. I quite remember that the AU granted Palestine a seat.
Observer status.
Yes, a seat in solidarity of their struggle. Because we Africans ourselves have been through that kind of system before, through the colonial government. And so we understand the hardship of the Palestinian people. And so we stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people. War has no victor. We want to see a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine, and we want to see this war end so that the hardship that is bestowed on innocent children and women will be a thing of the past.
Right. Thank you very much, Ramsey Musa. Kabo.
Thank you, Ohemaa. Let me take this opportunity to say a very warm good morning to our cherished viewers. And then I also extend my greetings to the NPP communication outfit. My elder brother Alhaji ABF Seni, my brother Ramsey. Ohemaa, this is the first time that I'm privileged to be hosted by you. So good morning.
Thank you.
I think they've said it all. But just to add the hard truth that people seem to be avoiding, and that is the truth. Israel is using religion as a shield to be committing this heinous crime. And humans, as we are, especially Africans, when it comes to religion, it's like we stop to think. We don't reason anymore. It's like if they say go, you start going without even asking questions. Stop, you stop. And the danger in this is that if care is not taken, this thing that we are seeing like is Palestinian-Israeli war, and it's like everybody seems not to care, it will get to us. If care is not taken, it will spread like a Hamatan fire to wherever, human beings, or should I say, there's breath on the surface of this earth, and which is very, 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 very dangerous. And again, UN, I don't know, I've always said this, it's like they've been very hypocritical about this particular issue when it comes to Israel-Palestine issue. We all know the history, and we all know who is the right owner of the land. And all that Palestine is asking for is give back our land. Simple. No suppression, no oppression, nothing. Give us back our land. That's all. But it's like today, the truth is very scarce. And many who also have it find it difficult to make it available. So if care is not taken, I want to, because I am very alarmed, to be frank with you. If you sit down and you think deeply, and if you also read the history of other conflicts in other parts of this world, you'll be frightened what is happening in Palestine. That better late than never. The ICC has come in, and I think, alhamdulillah, we thank God that at least they have issued this warrant. I don't know. So beyond this warrant, what is going to happen next? What will the UN security decision will do in between the arrest and the issuance of the warrant? Because lives are being lost every now and then. To me, justice is still not served. Though there is hope and there is some sort of a sign of justice on the way coming. But how do we ensure that this justice arrives? And I think that is also very important. So I don't know the kind of role that United Nations will play in this particular judgment to ensure the protection of lives and properties in Gaza and its surrounding. And of course, we also as a country, what will be our contribution? Because we are also members of the United Nations. And I think it is a collective responsibility that we should all come together to make sure that peace prevails in this. And I join in the sentiment of both my brother Ramsey and my elder brother Alhaji ABF saying that yes, it is condemnable that the attack that the Hamas launched on Israel on the recent, it's highly condemnable. It was unnecessary that they should have started that. However, what Israel is doing now, it is even 100 times condemnable than what Hamas started. And I'm of the view that, or I was of the view that the likes of America, Britain, I mean, the world giants, Russia and the rest, would have stepped in to say enough is enough. America, somewhere along the line, pretended to like they were trying to caution Israel. But we all know what is happening in this world. We know what is happening. But I think it is high time that we call a spade a spade. And me, I have always, it is not, and sometimes too, the irony of the issue too is this. Like I said, sometimes the likes of me find it difficult to comment on this, simply because I'm a Muslim. So somebody who doesn't know the issues very well will just draw conclusions that because he's a Muslim, he's supporting the Palestinians, without actually looking at the reality, the facts on the ground. To be frank with you, if Palestine were wrong, I would have condemned them. I would have, in fact, I would have rather been even more comfortable to condemn them because I'm also one of them. But I find it uncomfortable condemning Israel because people perceive me, in quotes, to be an enemy of Israel. However, in the Quran, it is established. Of course, I stand to also be corrected. Israelis, per my understanding, are not even Christians. They are not Christians.
I wanted to, at the risk of interjection, there's a popular misconception.
Exactly.
That the Christian other divide is in solidarity with the Jews because of the other nations are Muslims. But let anybody who has that decision run away from that misconception. Yeah. Judaism is the official religion of Israel.
Exactly.
And Judaism is an antithesis of Christianity. The Jews and others don't even recognize Jesus Christ. I'm not aware. They don't recognize Jesus Christ, and they are even they clamp down on Christians, even in Israel. No, so it cannot be that they don't build on the solidarity with Christians.
No, thank you very much. No, I was even coming.
It's not at all.
I was just trying to bring this what we are
exactly so,
and then also to let even the world understand that they, as we speak, Muslims and Christians are even much more closer to each other than Christians and
Because Muslims
Jews.
believe in Jesus Christ as...
Oh no, yes. But that's it, they don't. If
But
you
they don't believe.
You go and find the doctrine of Judaism and see match it against.
Yeah.
It's not. But there are many people here. Sometimes you hear a pastor. I've heard a pastor say, "Oh, we are Christopher." They are this. They don't even know that. They don't even know that. They know next to nothing about what the Jews are.
So I think sometimes you can also use your medium to help us. Maybe sometime to come up with these issues to let the general public know the realities of the relationships that we've just spoken about. I think it will also go a long way to calm nerves on these particular issues. Like I said earlier on, I don't have much to say. They've said it all. I just added this one to the conversation. Thank you.
In fact, Ohemaa, just a little bit. The many Christian Palestinians are as part of this intrinsic struggle for Palestine, just like any other Muslim. So the Palestinian struggle is not a religious issue, because it cuts across Muslims, Christians, and other faiths. It's not. You have Palestinian Christians. In fact, there are many Palestinian towns and others which are mostly Christian towns. Hebron, Bethlehem. All those things are Palestinian towns.
Yeah, people travel there.
Exactly, those are Palestinian towns, and they are mostly Christians. So I don't think that is like that.
They also have some Muslims in Israel.
Sure.
Right,
it's not a religious issue.
Our conversations it's getting more interesting, and we just ended a conversation on the ICC issuing an arrest warrant for the arrest of the Israeli Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, the former Defense Minister as well. I'm getting the feed that our sound isn't, effective by our viewers. And the calls keep coming, the messages keep coming. But let me read a few messages. This one said, "Good morning, Pan-African. If a government in power," I'm not sure why the calls keep coming. It's please cut the calls. It's interrupting our message reading. If a government in power predicts a runoff, it is telling you we are losing the election. Alaji once said, "If you are suffering from diarrhea, you don't ask a stammer the way to the toilet." I can't forget it. Abochi Adidome, Central Tong. Right, thank you very much. Please, we have I think we're having issues with sound, so that means whatever I'm saying is in here. So let's take a quick commercial break. We rectify that and return. We apologize for that inconvenience. Thank you for always staying with us, and thank you for the notification as well. We really appreciate that. Let me kick it off by reading a few messages. Okay, these messages are fix your sound, we can't hear your discussion, hello, Ohemaa, work on your sound, a plethora of that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. All right, let me do a few of the WhatsApp messages. This one is saying that as far as the East is from the West, so far as he removed Achiaa, preaching this morning. Okay, let's I think the messages should relate to what we are talking about here. This one is saying that so government has money to pay to laments for unwholesome foods and unsupplied goods, yet will owe ECG and supply power, and that one could not pay. I don't know how to describe this government. Okay, I'm not sure what you're trying to communicate, but well, right, just due to time, I'll be reading some of the messages as we go on the conversation. But our second topic for discussion, very interesting one. Yeah, so it says that EC destroys defective ballot papers for Ahafo and voter regions. I think this surfaced in the course of the week, and we're discussing it, given the material moment, very few days to elections, and why EC will decide to, destroy or just do away with some what they call defective ballot papers. ABA, should I start with you? I should start with the man in government. Man in government. Maybe you have some justification for that.
For what?
On behalf of the EC.
But this is an extension of
Because you are in government. Your party is in government.
My party is in government.
Because you have a penchant for defending EC anytime. No. But let me come on. Ohemaa, it is very worrying. The EC, which already has a credibility deficit, should not be doing anything that will raise suspicion and concern about some ballot tampering in the eyes of the Ghanaian public. I'm sure that for a variety of reasons, this is an electoral commission that in one election declared 5 different results in the last election. Terrible. And it is unfortunate that because of the way the matters were handled in court, they allowed the electoral commission to escape by not allowing Jean Mensa to have entered the box to properly account for her stewardship of the chairperson of the electoral commission. And so, in this particular election, Ghanaians are over with eagle eyes, especially we, those in the NDC and other political parties, including independent candidates like Movement for Change, some other independent candidates and political parties. Yeah. The first question I ask is, how did that error happen? That the Electoral Commission does not have a system for validating and cross-checking on all these issues even before they go for printing. Because before you give it to the printers and others, you must have ascertained 100% that the data that you are sending to the printers for printing onto the ballot is the correct data you are sending. Am I lying? So are we made to believe that the Electoral Commission never had or doesn't have a proofreading system where it is possible to unearth such challenges before they get to the printing house? Then if they don't have it, I can say we are in serious trouble. Because it can happen that even there are mistakes we have not yet even uncovered. How do we know that? Until the election day. Because I heard the EC even beating its chest in triumph and saying that, oh, it is not a political party that discovered it. It is we who discovered it. Doesn't matter. The fact that a monumental error of such a sensitive nature could occur within the EC without them even noticing until all the ballots had been printed for Ahafo and the voter region. And we in the NDC are so this and that. Matters related to the voter region is of critical concern to us because, one, it is our stronghold. Two, it is hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians whose vote can decide who leads the country in the next election. That's it at stake. So how did that happen? And how did it happen to the two regions and not some other regions? Ohemaa, these are very pertinent questions that I think all of us need to get the Electoral Commission to address. So far, the Electoral Commission has run away from telling the good people of this country how those errors occurred and whether or not mechanisms have been put in place to avoid a recurrence. And a foolproof assurance that no other regions have been affected by these other serial numbers and other things that has resulted in the destruction of the ballot. But more important, another important thing is that have we fathomed how much it has cost us to print those ballot papers? Because this is the taxpayers' money. The Electoral Commission has a duty and a burden to discharge in respect of the printing of ballot papers, that there are no wastages, and especially wastage of this magnitude, which goes into millions of Ghana cedis. Look at the numbers of ballot papers involved. So is this not a causation of financial loss? And should anybody who is responsible for that just be allowed to walk away free under the guise of making a mistake and being allowed to go scot-free? I think that people ought to answer. If you are a public official and you are given a duty to perform, you have a burden to discharge, you are under obligation to ensure that you protect the public purse in that one. Here, the public purse has not been protected. And so there are issues of the causation of financial loss. Shouldn't we be holding those officials of the Electoral Commission who, by due of negligence, by going to sleep on the job, allowed this thing to happen? And so by just going to burn the papers, and I have not gleaned sufficient information to know that whether that is even the true numbers, whether that is the full count that was burnt. There are times we have heard of things being burnt and then you go and some are stashed somewhere. And so they could have sent political party representatives there to go and burn them in their face. Did they count the ballot papers there for them to know that this is the full number of ballot papers we are burning? How did they ascertain that all the ballot papers were actually burnt? Ohemaa, it's not just enough to carry them in boxes or in trucks.
But the question we also keep asking is that when they say defective, what is the issue?
They were talking of serial numbers.
Serial numbers?
Yes, some. Yes, I think that they were not the right serial numbers. And that is why I am even asking that question. That is there no proofreading system within the Electoral Commission where they could have noticed this even before it was sent to the printers, so that mistakes could have been avoided? The cost that we are incurring could have been saved at a time when this economy is on its knees, a broke, bankrupt economy.
It happened to voter regions and Ahafo regions, which is a stronghold of the NDC.
Yes, so there's no mistake. There's no mistake that the voter region is a stronghold of the NDC.
It's rather stronger than NDC in Ahafo.
But NDC has some sort of...
Yes,
Ahafo is MPP.
Yeah, it's a swing.
As we speak, Ahafo is MPP.
Ahafo have 4 constituencies.
But it's swing.
There are some parts of... When was Ahafo created? Ahafo is not swing.
Sabo, don't
in fact, when it was Bono Ahafo, the Ahafo side was always MPP.
But like Chichiman...
we know the historic...
how many MPs do you have in Ahafo now?
No, what I'm saying is that as we speak, of course, no. Today, as we speak, we have more MPs than.
How many MPs do you have now?
No, that's what I'm saying. I said today, as we speak. No, I cannot give the figures, but I know on record, MPP has more MPs. Oh no. I will never lie.
It is not.
If it were in greater Accra, I can easily give you the figures. But this half, but I know that we are leading you in a half.
It is not.
Then like we are leading you in North East, but I don't know the numbers.
It's not your stronghold.
Oh, it's not. No.
Don't talk about it. Even when
no.
vote that constituency.
No. I am telling you that don't make it look like
I'm
is a
just
stronghold
indicating
of
that
NDC.
clearly, these are very worrying, and I think that every step must be taken to ensure that we don't have this recurrence. And like I said, the Electoral Commission has suffered already a very serious credibility deficit, and to begin to add these things up to the concerns people already have, whether there are inefficiencies, incompetence, or the willful acts. Assuming this had not come and we are going for the elections, and then the people of Ahafo and voter region, they vote, and I believe they are all going to vote massively for the NDC. They vote massively for the NDC. Don't wait for us to hear that, no, we are nullifying the results of those elections because the serial decisions are wrong. This could have caused chaos in the country through either incompetence or willful acts calculated to rig the elections by the EC. So clearly, I'm sure we should take very serious note, and the EC must be aware that Ghanaians are watching them with eagle eyes. We are not going to sleep until this election is done and dusted. And by the grace of Allah, His Excellency President Mahama is declared the winner of this election. Clearly, we are going to maintain that level of vigilance, and I want to encourage Ghanaians to continue to put that vigilance on the Electoral Commission and ensure that the right thing is done. But beyond that, I believe that questions will still come back. Those who cause that financial loss must answer, cannot just be allowed to go scot-free. We will have to get to the bottom of the matter.
All right, thank you, Honorable. Before I bring in my other guests, let me read the messages coming through. I think this morning I haven't been fair to our viewers, but it's not my fault. You understand. It has to do with the sound issue that we were facing. But this one is coming in, and it says that Ohemaa, please tell Alhaji that it was a deliberate attempt by the Electoral Commission to rig the election for the NPP. Why is Jean Mensah always moving about with soldiers? Ni Mensah at Spintex Road. Okay, thank you, Ni. This one also says that Ohemaa, you look sterling this morning. Thank you very much. Greetings to your panelists. For Jean Mensah, she should not try to declare even this year's results twice. The eagle eye on top of the umbrella is watching the EC this time around keenly. If she thinks she is tired, she should better resign, and she should take note that the financial loss she has caused the state by burning the ballot papers, she would go to jail for that. JDM is coming. We simply jump for his second coming. Soglo Ibrahim, thank you. All right. Ken William is typing. I know he has a lot to say. Okay, this one says that, Ohemaa, thank you for fixing the sound. Thank you to my evil technical team. But for the vigilance of the NDC, the EC would have gone ahead with printing of missing numbered ballots. Yet the EC claims they discovered the error. Shame, EC. Stephen Peng. Wow. Okay. Let me take a few more and we continue with our conversation. Ohemaa Agyekum, can you please send me your contact? I have a conversation. Hey, I see. Okay, so this one says that Ohemaa, kindly ask Dr. Ramsey that is Alan indeed the reincarnation of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? Why is he crying like Afenyo marking so soon about his Maker Kufuor's preference? Whether he likes it or not, NKB Cheddar will beat Alan. And KOD flat because he is the new Osajefo and with money. Okay, interesting. Now, speaking of which, with money, yes. That's what's his name? Nana Kwame Bediako. Yes. And that's what is coming through. All right, Ramsey. Concerning the EC's action, and also if you want to start by answering this question.
Yes. Well, on a lighter note, I'll start by answering that question. Well, former President Kufuor, who I have a very, very deep relationship with, not today. My father actually was his campaign manager. And Kufuor's success, even in the MPP primaries, to become a presidential candidate was engineered by my father.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not a hidden. This is on record.
Yes. So maybe in case there's a doubting Thomas.
No. This one, don't try to. This is a public record. Everybody's aware.
Anyway, so Ohemaa, President Kufuor, we know is a member of the MPP, and so even though respectfully I disagree with him that Bawumia is the most competent candidate in this race, I think that he's the least competent and the least credible, in my own opinion. And all indicators of our economy would vindicate the statement that I'm making. And so I'll just leave it like that. I disagree with President Kufuor. Yes, he's a former president, a member of the MPP. Of course, he will support no other than his own. And so I'll leave it there. Ohemaa, currently going into this election, Ghanaians have lost trust in our Electoral Commission. And if you look at the Afrobarometer report, right, it states that only 28% of Ghanaians trust the Electoral Commission. And so there are issues. And for the actions and inactions of the EC, of course, it would amount to such outcome as we see today. It baffles my mind. I try to really think deep into these happenings. Why would you recall a whole ballot paper designated for a particular electoral region? And of course, one of the regions being a stronghold of the opposition party, the NDC, right? And so there are some form of suspicions. I do not speak for the NDC, but of course, knowing very well that the EC has conducted elections over the years, this is not our first election. Since 1992 to date, they have been conducting elections, and we've seen reforms after reforms after reforms. And we all know that, yes, there is a form of polarization of our Electoral Commission by the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC. We cannot hide away from that fact. And that is why in recent times, you've realized that the position of the Electoral Commission chairperson is coterminous with the tenure of any ruling party or government, right? And to end this issue, or to mitigate the issue of mistrust, right, of the Electoral Commission, Honorable Alan Kojo Tramanti is telling the people of Ghana that, look, we have a plan, we have a solution, right? And he wants to bring in a bicameral parliamentary system. He wants to bring in a second chamber. This second chamber would not be a partisan chamber. The first chamber we have, which is the Parliament of Ghana currently, is a partisan chamber. That is why you can have minority and majority sittings, right? And it filled by political parties and also independent, but as it stands now, it's filled by largely the NDC and the MPP. But we want to go a further step to introduce a second chamber which would have a core responsibility to appoint and nominate heads of independent constitutional bodies, right? And so, under Article 70 of the 1992 Constitution, the President has that mandate in consultation with the Council of State to appoint the heads of independent constitutional bodies like the Electoral Commission, right? The Electoral Commissioner, the Electoral Commission chairperson and other commissioners of the Electoral Commission are appointed by the president. And we are saying that we have to abolish that system. We have to bring in that second chamber that will be made up of Nananums, the traditional authorities, faith-based organizations, right? The trade unions, the reps from the PWDs, right? Industry captains, academia, okay? That would have this legislative backing by law to be able to appoint and put in place different heads of independent constitutional bodies, which the president would not have that mandate. So in other sense, you will not have the advantage to manipulate, or there will not be a form of bias in appointing that person, right? And so you create that layer, because you cannot go and tell Asantini that, oh, Nana, appoint this person because he's from my party, or you go and tell Yabonwura or Yana or the Gamanche. If all these people have been given those powers together with industry captains and trade unions, and there's a precedent in this country already that has been set by organized labor, which stopped an MPP Apparatchik from buying 60% of Smith's hotels, that today the hotels are making profit. The Labadi Beach has recorded some profit and has paid its dividends to its shareholders. And so in the same wisdom, we want to give these individuals or these bodies that power to be able to appoint commissioners and chairpersons of the EC, so that tomorrow no president will be able to appoint his former TESCOM patron, former communication officers of the MPP into the Electoral Commission, as we've seen currently. And I'm not surprised at all, because it is always the norm that when you are in government, you appoint people that are in line with your agenda. You understand? Be it good or bad for the people of Ghana. And we are saying that the EC should take caution. Going into this election, there's a lot at stake. The Afrobarometer report is sending a signal to us that the Electoral Commission cannot be trusted, and we do not trust the Electoral Commission or the commissioners in there. We do not trust them. And any effort they put in place to try and subvert the will of the people will be met with harsher reactions. We are calling for a peaceful elections, but bear in mind, we will resist any attempt by the EC to rig the election in favor of this incompetent and clueless government. Ohemaa, we have a country to safeguard, and we have a future to achieve as Ghanaians. This current system can be only solved by the policies that we are recommending to the people of Ghana. Creating a bicameral system is a way forward to be able to solve a lot of these issues. And of course, the appointments of the IGP and the CDS will not be made by the president. Right? We saw what happened in Tetima South. We saw what happened in Achiaa. Has anybody been held responsible? And I can tell the people of Ghana that this issue that happened in Tetima South and Achiaa, I am telling them that we are going to prosecute those military heads if we come into power. We will champion that agenda to prosecute them and punish them. How can we have a democratic government in place and military leaders will just get up and take the law into their own hands and kill innocent citizens and brutalize innocent civilians? Are we being led by a military junta? What kind of absurdity is this?
You can hear this text from this
colonel, one colonel.
Yes.
Yes.
Another at this general tennis board.
I mean, you deal with people on that day.
Impunity.
They have
to be measured in their words.
Yeah.
Ohemaa.
All right, thank you very much, Ramsey. Kabo.
Sabu.
Sabu. Sabu.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Please let me clarify that I wasn't saying your party is an extension of the EC, or the EC is an extension of your party, either way. I'm just trying to say that even throughout all our panel discussions, you realize that the MPP stands strongly with some of the EC's, actions. So I was just wondering, what your thoughts are?
Maybe let me just start from that end. It is evidently clear, and of course on public records, that ruling government has always been perceived to be in bed with the EC, just like what he was actually making reference to, simply because it is the president who appoints the head of the EC. The MPP as a party, we never trusted Afarijan. We never trusted, what's her name? Charlotte Osei. How do I get to me? And yet these two ECs declared elections that we were the beneficiaries. No, let me come. I'm building a point. Otherwise, you may run faster than your legs can carry you. You wouldn't know where I'm going. You see, the same way, the NGC, as we speak, they should tell me, he's here, on record, when in opposition, they ever spoke well of the EC. No, we shouldn't be hypocritical about certain national issues. Let me come. No, you by who appointed Afarijan? Who appointed Afarijan? No, I'm telling you that. No, what I mean is that appointee. Okay. I think I made it wrong. What do you call it? An EC appointed by MPP government that you ever trusted. Mention
which one have you? You didn't have the opportunity.
No. Is it not a constitutional demand?
Yes, but this was appointment.
No. Please.
I want to listen to the argument carefully. And you know that exception is the best.
No, I'm coming to you too. You yourself, I think you are out. You see, as a country, Ohemaa, today as we are sitting here, despite the fact that you are working for, excuse me to say, salaries, but you are also trying to ensure that your country strives. Because we are in the sailing boat. When it rocks, all of us will be affected. So wherever you find yourself, do your best to place Ghana ahead of any other interest. And I believe that's the only way you can contribute meaningfully to the development of this country. Yes, and that is why I have not run away from the fact that even we, when we were in opposition, we never trusted the EC, and yet they declare results for us to win an election. The NDC is doing the same today, so we are not surprised. But it is a norm that as a country we should do our best to move away from there. And that is where he was trying to make an attempt as to how to resolve this issue. Because the perception that the president appointed a person, that perception is there that the person doesn't have that constitutional powers that have been given to the person, that the person is now independent of the one who appointed him or her. We'll still have the feeling that the person is still fooling strangers here and there. Anytime the president wants the EC chair to do something, maybe you pick a phone call or they meet somewhere, it tells her, this is what I want things to be done. That is the perception up there. All of us ever thought that way before. However, having moved from that end, the questions that I need to ask, especially when my elder brother was doing his presentation, is that first, let us find out. Let me even come before I ask that question. He said EC declared 5 different results. But I want to ask, you took this matter to court. Which results did you have? Out of the 5 different results that EC declared, which of the results did you have? You were asked in the court. It is on public record. I speak on evidence-based something that you can verify. It is there in our social handles. It is there. I mean, in so many records. If you go to the court, it is there. And even their current chairman, when he was going around campaigning, what did he say about the issue? No, there was nothing. And so, to me now, let's say ABB. Playing with the might, with the heart of Ghanaians, our future. If maybe the court or the authorities were not firm on this issue, where would we have taken this country to? And yet you could not produce. They said, okay, look, not your own results. just any result that you think is the right result, bring it. It was, I mean, it was live something. This was not off camera. Was he able to produce?
Can I answer that question?
Can you even remember the popular Makola calculator?
If the man is...
You see? No. I think when you were speaking, when you were speaking, I was quiet. In fact, I'm able to respond to them because I noted them down.
Okay.
So note them down and then respond. I'll be happy if you're able to give me the answer because up to now I don't know the results. And then I think with the defection, I think our interest as Ghanaians, if indeed we want free, fair, transparent results, is to ask how did they detect the defects? How was the alarm raised? Because the issue of proofreading and whatever, I'm not good in IT, I'm not good in Excel, but it is Excel that they normally use to generate these kind of serial numbers, and you know how the Excel works. So if you make mistake and you just one of the this and you just jump one, it will be replicating itself in that order. But I think we should really thank, whether it is NDC, whoever detected that thing. I think Ghana needs to do something for such a person or such an institution. Has actually saved us a lot that money cannot quantify. Because only God knows what this would have created if it had found its way to the various regions. And don't forget that even this serial number that we are talking about, of course, with the use of the Excel again, every region has its code. And that is how come it has not affected other regions, but these two regions, maybe the coding, that is where the whole problem generated. And it replicated itself in the others, and it got to that. And I'm also surprised that my brother was rather talking about money and not life. That how much this thing has cost us. They have caused financial loss to the state. I thought he would have rather asked the question that how much this thing has saved us. If this is have found their way without causing us any financial loss to the distance, and it creates a problem that lives and properties will be destroyed. If you put the two, which one will you rather opt for? Is it not better for us to even lose the money and rather protect lives and properties?
So maybe he was speaking from the standpoint of being under the auspices of the EC. This mistake has been created,
and I am saying,
and so they should have been more vigilant.
No, you are not getting me. No, please, don't get it wrong. And that is why I asked my earlier question, that how was it detected? Because let me tell you, even proofreading, most often than not. In fact, if you give it to just one person, are you getting me? And then finally you bring it. How come even you lose in the media? Sometime after something that you have even given for public consumption, you still come back to correct certain things. Why didn't you do proofreading? He was to Daily Graphic. Why aren't there so many mistakes in Daily Graphic? Even grammatical errors. Didn't they do proofreading? You are dealing with human institutions. Yes, systems will rather be put in place to ensure these things, but because you are dealing with humans, sometimes it's going to say, Ohemaa, maybe you might have not had a sound sleep last night. In fact, thank you very much. So definitely when you come, it is going to affect your performance. People who know you very well will know that this is not Ohemaa speaking and other things. We have all these things in place. So I will never, I have never and will never defend easy. But however, I think we should do our best to find out how this problem was detected. And that is where we can pick the conversation from. Right. And then rather see whether EC was being negligent or EC is rather being proficient to make sure that no problem is sent out there. And then we can appreciate this particular problem. Right. And again, let me, in fact, maybe you may say my time is up, but I'm not even finished with the Roberta because let's want to talk of even bring my own issue. And then
do one of
Ramsey was talking of the appointment. In fact, it would have been a very good idea. Like, get fair-minded people. Get people who have the real feeling of the country. I mean, to take the affairs of the district.
You mean the second chamber?
Yeah, that he was talking of. But they should actually what do you call it, go in sync with our constitutional provisions, which currently, as we speak, is not there. And quite apart from that, we are running a presidential system where every interest in the country lands at the doorstep at the presidency. It's because if you say these people should be put in place to make sure that they appoint these people, then who is responsible, who is accountable for the outcome of the whatever issues that comes out? How are you getting me? And then when it comes to what do you call it, resourcing that particular institution and the rest, and then even the EC chair, is she accountable to these people or the government or the president? How are you getting me? All these things are things that you have to actually look at, and the current circumstances as we find ourselves, it is practical. I mean, it's not practical that this thing can happen. Quite apart from that, in fact, there are positions like the IGP's positions and the rest that I have said on this set several. I have said that if I had my own way, it should have already been through the ranks. The person, whether the person is perceived to be NDC or MPP, it is his turn. He has risen through the ranks and it has fallen on him. They're like the way one were children, Nana, whether the person is your enemy or what, the thing has landed on the person. You have no option than the person to take the stage. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But however, because of the responsibilities that we have put on the president, that everything, he is responsible for it. So he also makes sure that he gets somebody that the person can also account to him, so that when there are issues, he can actually, but where you make it look like the president doesn't have any direct control over the person, then you turn around again and say that whatever the person does, the president is responsible. Of course, it can never work that way. But let me just, because you say there's no time, what I want to add to this conversation is that we thank the EC for swallowing a humble pie, that detecting a defect, making it public, and going ahead to correct that defect. And again, we also thank the EC for the first time in the history of our country that they are now making IPAC meeting public. That even we do, because gone are the days we were sitting there, then they'll come from IPAC and be telling us different stories, worrying us. Today you cannot go to IPAC meeting and come and tell us stories. We were there with you. We know what happened there, because we are the stakeholders. You go there to represent us there, but you come and tell us give us different report. So I think this EC should have rather been praised for actually bringing some kind of innovations that will deepen democracy in this country. But having said that, we as a party, the MPP, are also watching the EC with an eagle eye to make sure that the EC does what is expected of her to ensure peaceful and of course transparent election come December 7th, 2024. I can see that you are pressing me for time. Otherwise, this is just the only first point that I've even made.
With time, and the messages and submissions of our viewers also will have to be read. I see some French coming through. Hey, you want to test my French today? Don't worry. This message says that, hello, Ohemaa, we need to correct this wrongful cliche from NPP with regards to the 2020 election petition. The NDC went to court challenging the declared election results from the commission itself, that the calculations didn't add up. The EC is the mandated body required to conduct and declare election results, and not any political party. Abdullah says Zakra.
I wanted to correct.
Okay.
That my brother was completely at sea on that submission, because the NDC did not go to court with figures that it indicated it had collated in the district. Because like I said, we don't have a duty to declare election result, do we? We said that that the election result that the electoral commission declared
to present it
on, I think was it December 10th or 9th, that the result they declared was unconstitutional, and that it did not meet the constitutional threshold of 50% plus 1. That was what we challenged in court, and that was what we wanted the electoral commission
you had
to go into the
results,
court.
and they said you should produce your results.
No, you said that we never.
I'm not saying you in court.
I'm just indicating
as a
to you.
party.
I'm just indicating our own result was not the basis for the court action.
So why are you changing the declared results? Why are you?
It's irrelevant. That argument is irrelevant.
No,
we were not there.
But
this
is common sense. This is common sense. If you say what I'm saying is not true, then tell me.
First, I have to prove to you that it's not true.
Yes, and tell me the truth.
That's what we wanted.
So you were saying the results was not the results.
Exactly.
So
it was unconstitutional. That's what we wanted to prove.
Let me do a few messages.
That's what we wanted to prove. That the result was unconstitutional.
Please. I tell the NPP man to stop wasting our programs. The NPP is collaborating with the EC to rig this year's elections in Adenta. Okay, this one is also saying that, interesting times. Ken Williams says that, please tell the NDC MPs to call out EC urgently to probe the voters register and the stolen devices before it's too late. The comedies of errors at EC are not mere human errors but criminal acts by NPP foot soldiers at EC to steal another mandate just as in 2020. NDC must wake up from their slumber and call Jane Mensah to order before she plunges the country into anarchy. Vote rigging is a treasonable offense, cautioned by Dr. Afari Jan. Okay. Good morning, Ohemaa. I'm George from Sugakope. Why is only a half one voter region having a problem with wrong printed ballot serial papers? Please, whoever or whatever they do, we the people of Volta are ready to vote massively for the NDC to be back to power. I need Honorable Husseini's contact. Okay. Ohemaa, I support what the butterfly man has said about voting for institutional heads. In addition, I am calling on Joshua Ansah and organized labor to organize demo and if possible industrial strike to scrap off the Article 71 office holders salary structure and their conditions of service to make politics unattractive. Even Honorable Speaker Bagbane said parliamentarians are not qualified to take ex gratia, but up to now, organized labor is not taking any step to stop it. Do you know, oh please, you're not supposed to be calling on the number. It's very distractive. Please bear with us. Do you know from sources MPs will take 1.2 million Ghana cedis each in January as ex gratia? Let's arise and stop the nonsense. Honorable, you're a member of parliament. How true is this one?
There's a lot of misconception on this issue of Article 71, and I'll be happy. Like I said, they should just take everything away and let all of us function within the milieu. Look, Ohemaa, I was a member of the 6th Parliament, 7th Parliament, 8th Parliament. Okay.
And hopefully the 9th.
No, I'm not going again.
Why?
I did not get a renewal from my constituency.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but beyond that, let me say this clearly. When we migrated from the 7th, this is the 8th Parliament, to the 8th Parliament, my salary that I took in December 2020 is the salary I'm still having today. Members are not paid any new salary. Go and find out which working arrangement in enterprises, companies, corporations and others that they are taking their 2020 salary today. So by the workings of the constitution and others, it will have to take the president to set up a committee to undertake a review of the old salary so that members can be paid a new salary. As we speak now, we are still subsisting on the old salary. I'm still paid the old salary that I had in 2020. No new salaries have been paid for 4 years. So it is when the president has set up that committee, they make recommendations to review the salary that I will be paid arrears.
Okay.
Please take note. So for the number of months that I have not been paid in the previous years, the new salary will have to be calculated and the difference paid to us. That's what they call ex gratia.
Right.
Is that ex gratia? These are accumulated arrears and others.
But we have
normally, so that's what I'm saying, that in the face of this confusion, I will favor. Look, they should just take everything away, put us in the mainstream payment, and everybody.
We have just 10 minutes, but we have to do magic. So I'll give you a few minutes. You're going to, touch on the president inaugurating 80 educational projects, among other projects, in the dying embers of his, power or his reign. And also the new survey of the difference, the percentages, they had variance with regards to Bawumia and Mahama, which is, the toughest competition. And then you will just make your general submit, and this has to be in the space of 2 minutes.
2 minutes. This is an impossible task.
We're doing magic, so remember.
As for the survey, let me just indicate that. You see, when we are going to trust any survey, the first and most important thing you should look for is the record, the credibility of that body churning out the polls. Have they ever churned out polls that have been substantiated, that have stood the test of time? So this latest one, I can speak for Global Info Analytics. You remember in the run-up to the MPP primaries, they forecast that Honorable Kennedy Agyekum was going to get about 41% of the vote, and that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will get about 63% of the vote. You remember? And there were MPP pundits who came and said this is the worst polls they have ever read, and that there's no iota of credibility in the polls, and that Dr. Bawumia was going to get 85% of the vote. You remember what happened? Almost to the point. Global Info and Analytics was their polls proved very, very credible. So when they turn out numbers, the potential of believing them is high, because they have ever chalked any record. This guy who has just this MPP contractor and then Kokroko representative, who has just churned out these statistics, what is his track record? Zero. Zilch. So there are some of them who are just churning out voodoo figures. Even in his polls that he turned out, the most important factor, ask everybody, any polls that comes out and doesn't tell you that the economy and cost of living is number one, it's not a pool you should rely on. Clearly, he didn't even mention economy and cost of living. That tells you that he's completely way off the mark. He was just churning up some voodoo statistics. So I don't put credence on those kinds of.
All right,
listen,
Honorable.
now you see, Ohemaa, today we have a bunch of dishonest, wicked, insensitive people, lying cabal who are at the head of our government. I just read some other things where Dr. Bawumia and his wife are on the campaign trail, shouting to the high heavens that when they come, one of the first things he's going to abolish is the e-levy. And fortunately, the media have done this and brought it out. Dr. Bawumia cut a cake on the day e-levy was passed. The wife brought a cake, and he held the knife and cut the cake to celebrate the passage of e-levy. I have never seen in my life, and I've read widely, I've never read and seen a government anywhere in this world that is zealously implementing policies and strenuously stressing that when they come to power they will take away those policies. I have never seen that. You are zealously implementing a policy, and then you are holding power and making promises and telling the people that vote for me again. When I come, I will throw away the policy I'm implementing. This is not lunacy. I can't understand what it is.
Right.
Because you are claiming you have the power. We give you power not to promise. When you are holding power, you don't promise. Okay. You act.
Okay.
So if President Mama says, when I come, I'll do this, it's because he doesn't have the power. You are holding the power. Implement the thing now. That's what we challenge Dr. Bawumia. Let you and Nana Akufo-Addo tell him that look, the e-levy is not good. The Ghanaians are complaining. They don't like it. Let's take away e-levy. You have the power to do that. Why are they not doing that? Unless they are taking Ghanaians, they are berating our intelligence. Because you can't be holding power and saying you take away e-levy, you take away the betting tax, you take away some percentage of the ad taxes. You will make sure that duties are lessened at the port. You have the duty to do all this. You have the power. Ghanaians have given you the mandate now. So it tells you clearly, these are a bunch of very wicked, insensitive people who don't have any iota of commitment to do anything about the sufferings of Ghanaians. And they are only trying to hoodwink us to renew the mandate for them to come and do worse things to us. The governments have been saying that if you have ever been bitten by bees, at least make sure that the flies don't bite you again. Bees have bitten us enough, not these flies again. After this fly, we will make sure that we will relegate him to the background. It will never happen, and I can tell you, without any item of doubt. And Ohemaa, I have gone round the past 2-3 months. I've been on the road, and I was talking to my brother Sabo here, who has not come to the north, and so he can't even ascertain what is happening there. That they will be in a rude shock. I know that their top leaders know what is coming.
Right.
It's just some of them who lower down there, they are deceiving the decision. But they know the reality. They are going to lose heavily. And I can tell you, both in the parliamentary and the presidential elections, the MPP is going to lose heavily. And it is going to be a one-touch. Even their own Pulsar could not even give them 50% plus 1. He said 49% that they will get for a runoff. If a government itself, by their own decision, are predicting a runoff, it tells you that they are out of power. In clear language. And who in Ghana here, and not trust the judgment of Ghanaians, going through this excruciating, unprecedented hardship, who knowing how the economy has been messed up, their lives messed up, is going to go and vote for this hopelessly uninspiring MPP government. They are out of power. It's just Ghanaians are waiting for December 7th.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable. Ramsey, 2 minutes.
Yes, Ohemaa, part of the claims by the president that, and also the MPP, that they have contributed enormously to the education infrastructure of this country is a clear mirage, and it's something that
But they're actually inaugurating projects.
But I would say I'm coming. I'm coming.
And recently the the flower pot project.
I say this unequivocally because in 2020, Ken Oforiatta, at the expense of taxpayers and of course at the expense of students, right, collateralized Get Fund to raise $1.5 billion dubbed under the Dachi bonds. Get Fund, which was enacted in the year 2000 by Act of Parliament, was supposed to support student scholarship and also infrastructure development in our educational sector. As it stands now today, 2.3 million students up north do not have access to even desks, let alone even educational infrastructure. There are still kids under trees, or I'll say schools under trees. In 2016, everybody campaigned against the NDC government for failing to reduce or to eradicate the issues of schools under trees. Right? What did we see? You collateralized Get Fund, which could have been used to support educational infrastructure development, and you raised $1.5 billion, 1.5 billion United States dollars, and that Dachi bonds was meant to support infrastructure development in our educational sector. And you can only brag of 80 or what? There should not be schools under trees in today's Ghana. That is what I want you to understand. With $1.5 billion, we should not have schools under trees. Ohemaa.
Okay.
With $1.5 billion, we should not have the double track system. With $1.5 billion, the quality that comes out of our free SHS policy should be extravagant. We see quantity, but we don't see quality. With $1.5 billion, Ohemaa, we should have had major STEM schools in every district.
Right. Okay.
I'll say even STEAM, because now art has been included.
Yeah.
And so this government, like I said, is clueless. The economy today is killing us, is strangling us in our necks, on our necks. The economy today is like an albatross on our neck. That ordinary Ghanaians do not even have savings. Ohemaa, people that work today don't have savings. Inflation is so high in this country. The cost of food, the cost of utility bills, transportation, medication, name it. Everything is so expensive. Even the cost of borrowing, because now, if you're going to get a loan from the banks, you pay interest of almost 35-40%, and you claim you've done well as a government.
Right. Please wrap up, Ramsey.
So what I'm telling the people of Ghana is that we've been stuck with this dilemma for 32 years. We cannot expect a different outcome if we continue to do the same things over and over and over again. If we repeat the same mistakes that we've repeated over this 32 years period of our fourth republic. We need to enact a change. And I always say this, that successful and developed countries in this world were not built by political parties. They were built on the vision and the competence of a great leader. The Tigers of Asia is a clear paradigm of what I'm saying. And so we are saying that the people of Ghana should root out and should come December 7th and vote massively for Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, who under his great transformational plan has pragmatic policy recommendations to our debt sustainability. He has policies in place that would be able to leapfrog our economy and reorient the orientation of our economy from an import-driven one to an export-driven one, so that a lot of the jobs that are exported overseas, will be brought back, and we will not have over 1.9 million young people unemployed.
All right, thank you very much, Ramsey Musa. I almost said Cabo.
Maybe you should
that's okay. With time you get to.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. All right, let me just add additional information to it. I think the EC must go beyond the correction and then also investigate the matter. I strongly believe that there are some bad elements maybe within the EC or hovering around the EC.
Okay.
Yes, I strongly believe that one. Please.
When
you were making your submissions, I was so quiet. Of course, that when dry bones are mentioned, so I'm not surprised your reaction. When dry bones are mentioned, so I'm not surprised with your reactions. And all the two of you all reacted to it.
Please let's move on with it.
Yes, you see, my elder brother was also tickling himself. I like it. In fact, unfortunately, the people in the northern region watch this program a lot. And I believe we are all from the north. And I want, after the election, we might come back here. The list the MPP will get from the current northern region, not the former northern region, as we speak, are 12 seats. The list, MPP, I'm saying the list too. I'll be getting at 12 seats. Mark these things down. And I'll be glad if you will be the one to host us after the election on this issue. At 12 seats. I know what I'm saying.
I'll ask you to call you.
I will not talk much. I will not talk much on it. And then, what do you call it? He was also asking a question like being in power and making promises. I don't understand. I find it difficult to understand. Maybe he spoke in parables. I can't remember the president in this country who was ever in power and was going for an election and did not make promise. I can't remember. And it is also don't run faster. I was just here. The second thing is that it is on public record that even right now, if you pull out your Android phones and then do so, that prior to the passing of the e-levy, Bawumia was on UTV and kicked against such act and was even made an example like your old ladies in the village and you are trying to send the old ladies something small and somebody want to tax it again. That is unfair. It is there. If you just go right now, you put no. Let me come. You put you are no. Let me come. Let me tell you. I'm a communicator.
Yes.
We know much about artificial intelligence. We know much about it, and we know what we are doing with them. Yes, of course. Right now you are sitting here, but I can do something right now, video, and you are somewhere that you've never seen there before. No. Please. So let me just. And then my brother concluded on the economy and other things. Yes, we are not proud of the current state of the economy. But how do please. You see, I don't know why when the two of you are speaking, I'm quiet.
Don't worry, just
you people
like the storms. Let's focus on
the exact when they do that. It means that in fact I'm actually making a point. Yes. You see, as we speak today, you are talking of indicators. In fact, all the macro indicators, including debt to GDP ratio, are far better than we took off in 2016.
No, that's not true.
We can come and sit here. Please.
Make your point.
Oh, please, when we were talking, I was quiet. Why not check and then just show me here? Check and show me here. I said check and show me here. Listen, all the macro indicators, even as we speak today, are far better than we took off in 2016. Secondly, let me tell you something. Secondly, prior to the COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war, what were the indicators? You are even talking of inflation. At least during 2022, is that not it? Inflation went up to 54. Is that not it? Today I also speak. Oh, please.
Who took it to 54?
No. Why is it that you I respect the rules of engagement. No. The reason why, you are not getting me. You see, naturally, because I can decide not to be complaining. Are you getting me? But I don't think you also like it next time when I sit here and anytime they are talking, I also just come in because I have decided to make my mind that way. So I will not complain. So I can also be interrupting anyhow. And you see how the whole program will go. You see, so yes. So what I'm saying, and I'm saying it here, that Ohemaa, next week, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he gives us that opportunity to be alive and healthy, we can come and discuss the economy here. And I know exactly what I'm talking about. And it is there, it is public record. That there's no way, there's no day that MDC can ever be better than us when it comes to the management of the economy. No day.
Look at our
in the midst of all these things, look at the kind of schools that we are building. Look at the STEM schools that we are building. Okay. In fact, one STEM school, I've said it severally, one STEM school is equivalent to about 40 e-blocks that they have been building around in the bushes.
Okay,
you go and build day school in a bush, not in a community, and you expect our rural folks who do not have regular income to be able to be trekking to these schools in and out on daily basis.
And we still have
today, as we speak, in fact, let me tell you, we have now even decided to build boarding facilities for these e-blocks just to make sure that they are functional. And we have completed most of the e-blocks. In addition, the buildings that we have done. That you people are sitting here. You see, I'm not surprised. No one I'm here able to stop saying these things. You can say it in my absence, but not when I'm here.
This 7th December, we have a plethora of messages coming through, but Honorable, thank you. So it is a wrap for the week. It's been an amazing week, insightful analysis, in-depth conversations that shape our nation. I want to thank Honorable Inusa Hussaini, Honorable ABF Hussaini. I beg you. I'm always mixing up names.
Honorable Minister, so what do you call it? My brother.
Yeah. Honorable ABF Hussaini, thank you so much. Ramsey Inusa, thank you so much for always heeding to our call. And to Cabo. I want to say somewhere again, but please forgive me. Oh, so I rather made a mistake again. All right, it's been a very wonderful week. Thank you so much. My name is Ohemaa Agyekum. I believe that you are going to have a restful weekend, but hey, the conversations do continue in the course of the weekend. Alaji and Alaji will be on, and we appreciate you from wherever you watch us. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Bless you. See you next week.